welcome to the Mics of the Round Table, presented by the Cinescape Media, where we're going to set the table with topics from all areas. This show is brought to you by Cinescape Media Network. Be sure to visit cinescape.media for a complete listing of all the great podcasts and content that we have available. Today, my panelists are Sean Harrigan and Mike Shea.
Hello,
guys. Hello, guys. Welcome. How are you?
We're back.
Sean, I'll start with you. How are you today?
Oh, doing all right. I got the itis a little bit. No, I'm fine. Didn't catch the no Rona here. We're good.
No Rona.
Good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, just hanging
Mike,
out.
how are you?
It was a nice day.
It was, yeah.
Got outside a bit with the little one.
That's awesome.
I'm good, man. I've so far managed to avoid the canola virus, but
Canola.
the canola virus or the Corolla virus or whatever it is. Yeah, no, I'm good, man. Just staying inside like a good boy.
That's good. I know. We are in week 4 now
Who the hell knows?
I don't
of
know.
Rona lockdown. I don't even know, man.
I got laid off quite a while ago, I feel like.
Yeah, Sean's unemployed. He's a victim of
The system.
Yeah,
the system failed me.
system.
Took me down. Cut me down to my prime.
System of a down.
Exactly.
Did you get unemployment yet?
Exactly. Yeah, I actually got a deposit this morning. For some reason,
Nice.
It was only for 1 week instead of the 2 that I claimed. Not sure what's going on with that. So I heard by mid-April we're also supposed to be getting our stimulus checks, and they still haven't sent the extra $600 out for unemployment either. So yeah, sitting here waiting with my thumb up my ass for that one.
Yeah, I was trying to recall back to last year when I was unemployed to think if they held a week or anything like that, because I know when you because you can only file on certain days, like what is it, starting Sunday, right, for the week, and you have to do it before, since they pay out bi-monthly, basically bi-weekly or whatever. I know when you go in to put in your filing, your claim for you do have to go through and you select the first week that you're doing.
Yeah, it'll give you both dates listed, and then you have to file.
Right. It's in like the same session, but you go through the first week, and it'll be like from this week, from this day to this day, and you have to hit confirm and submit, and then it kicks you over, and then it's like
the second week.
Correct. So I don't recall if they
were supposed to have waived the 1 week waiting period, so
okay.
This wasn't happening. Now, other people that I saw, one guy said he physically talked to somebody today, and they gave him 3 weeks worth. So I don't know what kind of shit that is. I get 1, he gets 3. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I think
thanks,
I think
antiquated
it's also
system.
Yeah, it's also just I mean, right there, you just said antiquated. I mean, it's probably just a fact
what
that
we doing, Governor Wolf?
Yeah, the system wasn't designed to, have an influx of applications such as this.
I mean, you see other states like New York, they're not having any issues with any of their systems, and here we are in PA. What are we, a third world country over here? This is ridiculous. I mean, we had a grocery order pick up today. I don't even want to know how much it was, whatever we were able to get. But I mean, my wife is still working from home, which is great, but I've been out of work for almost a month, and money's starting to get a little thin here, fellas. So we need to get this shit going. Like, I don't understand how they're expecting people to continue paying for stuff when they're not giving the funds that they've been promising. So I know you've been personally looking into purchasing firearms for personal protection from people breaking into houses and looting and shit. Well, if people can't find, don't have money and don't have a way to get food, they're gonna get it somehow. So I told my wife, I have hunting rifles at my parents, so I'm getting ready to go pick them up.
Yeah.
Not tap my NRA membership around or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah,
it
could start getting really dicey real quick, and this is supposed to be the week where we're seeing the the biggest influx of numbers and death tolls. So we'll see how that all goes.
And I mean, at the same time, too, they're also saying that the curve is starting to flatten as well. As a payoff from what we've been doing over the past few weeks. So,
you know why that is? Because they closed all the GameStops in Massachusetts. That's why. Callback
there it
last
is.
week.
There it is.
I don't even call that a callback.
Fucking GameStop. Maybe we'll see the epic return of Funko Land. Who knows?
Oh, I'd be all about it.
I remember the little
get some Comp USA too.
Do you remember the newspaper that they would have of all the game values and stuff? That was a joy for me to go in there and like grab that paper and that was like your chart as a kid. Like if you like wanted to make money when you were younger, like using the know-how and the things you had available to you, you would get that table of game values and then like assess your collection and figure out like what you're doing. It's like
here's how that always went down. So like quick story, my parents divorced when I was really young, so my dad would pick me up on weekends, and for a long stretch every Friday when he'd pick me up, he'd take me to Funko Land and we'd get a new Sega game for like $60 or whatever it was at the time. And then when you get these papers, you're like, oh well, I can trade this in and get the new Sonic and Knuckles game that just came out. So you trade in like 4 or 5 games and you get like $10. And then my dad gets all pissed off. I spent all this fucking money on all this shit, and this is going to give me blah blah. And it's really no different now with GameStop.
Yeah, I mean it's when you talk about antiquated systems, I mean there's one right there.
For sure. Shut it down.
Well, shut it down. John Tapper came in and shut that shit down.
Yeah, he did.
Well, now that we got some Rona talk out of the way, you guys ready to dive into a little heady space trip here today?
Yeah, let's get going. I just returned from my my astral trip.
Nice. So let's dive in. So today's main topic is going to be science, man. Okay? Science. And I'm trying to line up my hands with where my camera is, and it's not doing too well, but you get the Giorgio Tsoukalos that I'm trying to do here.
I had a great sound effect, but I think I deleted it. Shit.
We'll pause for.
It's gone. Now it's gone.
And it's gone.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's prompting this is obviously the current conditions that we're in, experiencing a national and global pandemic of a virus that's obviously sweeping the globe, and there are trial vaccines that are coming out. We don't know their level of effectiveness, obviously this early on.
Look, I just got into it with an uncle on the hydroxychloroquine right before we started recording.
Oh, man.
I want to preface this or just go off on a little thing right here. Now, Trump came out during a press conference and verbatim said, just try it. What do you have to lose? Right? He said that. There's
try. What do you have to lose but your hair?
What do you have to lose?
If you went to your doctor because you were sick and he or she prescribed you some medication that you've never taken before and said, well, why don't you just try it? See what happens. What do you have to lose? Would you go and fill that script?
Doc,
I don't think I would.
Is that going to affect my blood pressure? I don't know. See what happens.
I don't know. What do you have to lose? So I'm not going to take that script from a doctor that said that, but I'm definitely not going to take that script from somebody who's not a doctor that said that, who has no formal medical training whatsoever.
I play one on TV.
Listen, hydroxychloroquine is a great malarial drug. I have a personal financial investment in the company from France. The New York Times just posted about it. Take it as you will.
He's been touting this crap on Twitter for months. Ever since this started being a thing, he's like, you know what I hear is a great solution. Tappity tap 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 on my phone while I'm pooping after eating too much KFC.
Tappity tap tap tap.
Is this malaria? It's great for malaria, so why wouldn't it be great for this? I don't know. I mean, Tylenol is great for a muscle joint, but that doesn't mean I'm going to try that too.
Right. Now, my wife takes that medicine for an autoimmune disease that she has, and when she went to fill her script last week, they had to give her the actual branded one instead of the generic, which I think that it cost like $500 or something, but they gave it to her at the generic price just because they couldn't fill it, which is absolutely ridiculous. So not only are you having the president going around touting some drug that isn't tested for what we're supposed to be using it for, allegedly, now you're also having people that actually do need it that can't go out and get it and that are going to be screwed, like my wife here. So it's just whatever you think of the president, this is just completely irresponsible. I mean, you have Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci up there, kind of backtracking on what he's saying without saying, no, he's wrong, he's an idiot, don't listen to him. Well, they can only do so much because God knows they're going to get thrown into a dungeon somewhere. But we need to listen to people that actually have a medical degree for this kind of thing.
And science is not regarded as it once was, and that basically brings us to today. And with what's going on in the world right now, with the realistic timeline of a possible vaccine not being for foreseeably at least 12 to 18 months. My first question to you all is, do you think we will see a significant scientific discovery, basically in our lifetime, whether if that's in the next decade, next 20 years, 50 years? Because, I mean, you have here a global scale virus that is shutting down and crippling the world right now. And we can't effectively, battle that with we just don't have the medicine available right now. And with the virus that we have right now, we've basically seen the same variant of this virus for at least the past decade now, going with SARS, what is it, the N1, I don't know what it is, Ebola, all these are all the same variant where it's being transmitted from an animal. But the fact that we don't have the ability to go after and scientifically solve this, the fact that we have to rely on, I mean, it almost seems medieval in the sense that we're, practicing social distancing. We have to be relegated to our homes and things like that. So my question is, do you think we're going to see something significant discovery-wise, in the next couple decades? And if you do, what's your best guess of what area of science do you think it'll be in, based off of what you know? So, Mike, I'll start with you.
So it's not so much that I think we're going to see the scientific discovery. I think it'll be in the next 10 years, but I think we're going to see a more effective repurposing of the science that we have, because right now we've got, companies using their factories that usually make diaper genies being used to make ventilators. Like, people are repurposing and seeing, and not only that, but you look at also the level of communication technology we have nowadays, and how, you think back to like the years of the Spanish flu, the countries weren't able to communicate.
I remember that.
Yeah. You old fuck. But nowadays, if our scientists around the world are able to basically upload and share information with each other round the clock instantly. So I think what we're going to see is that the discovery is going to be how to take the technology and the science we have right now and repurpose it, because we're going to be seeing we talked about this a little bit last week, a complete paradigm shift in the way that humanity continues to exist. We're going to have to, because we're already having to readjust our way of life and our way of thinking. And I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see things like I think it's going to wake people up to the fact of, to the idea of having to rely on like, you know, clean energy. Like I always see the article from The Onion pop up where it's like scientists remind the world that clean free energy is ready to go, you know, whenever. Just whenever, it's fine. It's here, it's ready, it's a thing. You know, we see people getting offered massive tax breaks all the time to put solar panels on top of their garage. So I think that we're probably going to see like I said, just kind of a repurposing of the science and the technology that we already have in our hands, because we're going to have to start trying something new with everything that we've got, because the way we've been doing things, I think everyone is starting to realize kind of too little too late what we're doing just isn't working anymore.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the the technology aspect. With this, people are still saying, "Ah, well, it's just the flu, blah blah blah. I didn't get affected by it." Well, yes, the flu kills X amount of people every year, and it's been around forever, and we have no cure for it. We have no cure for the common cold. We have no cure for all cancer. We have no cure for all these major illnesses and diseases. Yet this isn't something that we know how to currently treat. Maybe some medicines that are already out there could be effective. Maybe they couldn't be. I know they're doing a lot of antibody testing right now for people that were infected with the virus to see how it affected them, and maybe take those antibodies and kind of spin it in some kind of a vaccine. But again, that's going to come with time and clinical trials, and maybe a 12 to 18 month time span is more than realistic. We're not going to be opening up again next month, business as usual, getting back to our lives right away. So, it's just going to become, a thing with time. But definitely with the technology aspect, we're going to have to find new ways to communicate with each other, be a part of each other's lives. And that includes working as well. We talked previously about a lot of people working from home, and Mike, with your paradigm shift, looking at cleaner energies, cleaner solutions, going green, different things like that. It can only really be beneficial in the long run. I got gas the other day for low $2, somewhere around there, $2.30 maybe. So I mean, when we're seeing some kind of, you're lucky. At least when we're seeing reduced uses of fossil fuels, I mean, that can only be a positive as well. But it's I'm going to talk about a story a little bit later on. But the technology aspect is definitely where this is all going to be going. Whether it's communications, virtual reality, things like that. But we're going to all come out of this being more mindful of our health and the health of people around us, and maybe stop being so gross all the time.
I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. We were having a hangout on Discord, and he was talking about how all this stuff with with the way the virus hit, and how if you look at the science right now, like it's showing like all-time low of greenhouse gas emissions. We kind of joked about it last week, where it's like the scene in Endgame where it's like, oh yeah, some whales are coming into New York now.
Whales. The dolphins have returned to the harbors in Italy.
Yeah,
swimming up the canals and shit.
And we're starting to see this shit actually happening after just a few weeks of people just not going out that much. And I think, and one of the things my buddy brought up was that it almost feels like some kind of like I hate to use the word supernatural, but just some kind of like, it was almost like the universe was telling us to slow the hell down for a little bit. Like things were getting in too big a goddamn hurry.
Like a cosmic correction.
Yeah, it was just kind of like nature's way. It's like Shyamalan's The Happening. It's like this is nature's way of basically saying, okay, everybody just needs to calm the hell down for a sec, because again, just a couple of weeks of everyone just staying inside a little bit more has had a massive effect on the earth as a whole. Yes, some negative when you look at the state of the economy, but that's also kind of showing maybe we need to be rethinking the economic structure of things as well. If it's so detrimental to our economy and if our health and our economy are not going to jive with each other, that's a problem.
And when you talk about this paradigm shift and things like that, it's funny how as you observe through like social media and stuff like that, the people that are having a hard time like adjusting to the slowdown are the people that were accepting of the chaotic lifestyle that we grew accustomed to, because after you slow down and stuff like to this point,
I'm so
you know,
bored.
right? It's not boredom. It's just the fact that like you haven't hit a point in your life where like sitting back and just seeing your kids just play in front of you, or being able to you know just get up from your couch and just go to the other room and do something, and just be be there, be mindful and present. I think I'm curious to see who this shift, like if it's affecting any kind of specific demographics, especially age wise, any
Well, the old
differently.
people are dying.
Well, that's
Yeah.
well, that's what old people
Not to
do.
laugh at their death, but
That's what old people do. They die.
I'll say this:
too old.
I think what we're finding is people are, for the first time in a long time, being forced to appreciate the little things.
Yeah.
Because right now the little things are all they have. We've played more board games in my house in the last few weeks than I think we've played in the last couple of years, because we're just having that moment now of like, do we really need this? Do we really need that? What can we do? Again, it's not so much boredom as it is just, you ever have that feeling where like when you have nothing to do and you're sitting around and you think, I haven't had nothing to do in so long, I wonder if I'm actually forgetting to do something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it feels like. Am I forgetting? Like, is there something I could or should be doing right now? And the answer is no. This is just kind of things are just slowed down right now.
Well, and one thing that I was reading too, I'm trying to see if I can find the article at the moment, was, basically this should teach us to appreciate things, and as well to reevaluate the American lifestyle a little bit, because one thing I was reading was with, in comparison to a country like Germany, who's has a certain lifestyle and balance to them, with the amount of time that we're out of work right now. And I think it was assuming that, with like a May 1st return date. So basically, having been out like 2 full months, we will still work more hours for the rest of the year than a majority of the German population, based on how their lifestyle is over there. They basically, they work, 35, 40-hour work weeks and stuff like that. But
They get a lot of vacation time.
they get about 8 weeks vacation time. It's highly recommended, almost forcefully, for you to take it, because that's the way that it is over there. And sometimes the work weeks aren't always traditional. I mean, you could work 40 hours, but it could be broken up, or it could, some jobs might be a little bit more flexible than the others. But that says something about how we have a number of Americans now, more now, are in that poverty line than ever before, based off of just these past couple weeks. And you have an antiquated system that's not able to accommodate. I'm not saying that the country's going to flip the switch and go socialist overnight, but when we talk about technology and how technology can help us become more advanced, more efficient, help streamline life and lifestyle. One thing that comes to mind is like robotics, and obviously warehouse manpower. You look at companies like Amazon, how they utilize robotics. When a majority of the workforce is being replaced by technology, and then now you have businesses that are up and switching their entire workforce to now working at home, that's to be included in that paradigm shift as well. When it's like, do we really need to be in an office setting to be productive? And is it just for the mere sake of where your employee is, and you saw them clock in and stuff like that. But like you out of an 8-hour day, you're probably only really effective for 6 hours. The rest
and
of the
how many
time
times are you getting up to go to the bathroom?
right. You're going to the bathroom, you're taking a shit, you're eating lunch, you're strolling around, you're on the phone. You have
Look, I'm good for about
you
2
have
productive
obligations.
hours a day.
Yeah.
The other time I'm
And
just bullshitting my way through it.
Even
there
my
you go.
job, I probably only account for maybe 4 or 5 hours of actual.
Mike forgets to turn actual programming on at work, and it's just a blank screen for like half-hour segments.
Right.
Oh, where's that Simpsons rerun?
I wanted to see Millionaire.
Man, you only knew how real that shit is.
but when you have this reevaluation going on, so the workforce is changing, and then at the same time when you bounce back from something like this, now you're gonna have a real competitive market. So for jobs and things like that. So capitalism is great, yes, but at the same time too, you have to look at what the status of the country is, and how are you going to regain that competitive workforce again. And it starts with retooling the people that you have. And there's going to be a lot of people that come out of this crisis and are going to end up in jobs that they weren't in before. And you have to account for those things, and you have to treat it the way that it needs to be treated. And more socialist programs to help the average American. A lot of people aren't going to like this because they're going to be like, oh, I'm not trying to pay more tax and things like that. But
all right, Bill Mark.
at the end of the day, we're all paying for it one way or another. And I mean, when I look at countries like Sweden, for example, is it Sweden or is it I think it's Norway. No, one of the two. They're both the same.
One of those white countries.
I believe it's Sweden, though, is the fact that Sweden has a high tax rate, but they also have a high income, high cost of living. But that's because everything is really based off of the fact that off of education level, really. So if you have a bachelor's degree, like across the country, it pretty much brings you in at a base pay level, which is very competitive, allows people to live their life and things like that. If you have a master's degree, obviously it brings you even more at a top level. And, everybody's, got a nice work-life balance because, you're paying more in taxes and, maybe, because a beer costs $8 over there. But, it's encouraging you to focus on a better lifestyle overall. Obviously, if you're paying $8 for a beer, you're not going to go to a bar and drink 12 beers that night. So it definitely, I know it's a little different than like the soda tax down here, but it's just you have to do things that model society after the way that it should be changing. And I know we're getting away from the main topic here a little bit, but I'm going to make this statement and then we'll reel it back in. But, we were talking about science. We were talking about, obviously, technology, how, we would like to see it represented and make things better. Obviously, the downfall with technology is when it makes things easier, a lot of other things become harder, right? And
they take your jobs.
Like
for instance, I was on the turnpike the other day, and it's just all automated right now. Even if you go through like the paid lanes, if you don't have Easy Pass, there's just a little sign up on the side of the road that says, continue through, we'll bill you, is what it says.
Oh yeah.
So for something like this, well, why do we need toll booth people at all? Strictly to provide jobs for something that a computer can do. And that's kind of the fear that everybody should have about too much automation and too much technology in the workforce and the labor force. That's going to cut the need for actually paying people. So if we have an excess of people and a decrease of number of jobs, well, what are these people going to do? Either they're going to be forced to find a new career and invest in something else or in their education, or they're not going to be able to do that, and they're going to be living off government assistance or going like the criminal route.
And the the people that have like a some kind of if somebody's sitting there complaining about oh, I lost my philosophy job, I was a philosophy teacher at
A philosophizer.
At this community college, like, yeah, you're gonna have to look at other careers and look at jobs that are always going to be in demand. There's a certain entitlement people in this country don't want to they don't want to do certain jobs anymore. But it's like, all right, well, if you were making $40,000 as like as a educator or something like that, but your
when
next
I was an
door
educator, I made $15 an hour.
Yeah, but you
with a bachelor's degree in education.
But your next door neighbor is an electrician who makes $90,000 a year. Like, oh, but I don't know anything about electrical. Well, you go fucking take a course, you go to a school and you learn and you get a fucking apprenticeship, and you'll be making more money in 12 months than you were previously. I think the attitude of the country needs to change as well, as far as I went to school for this, so I should be doing this and I should be getting paid this, and that hopefully this pandemic wipes away some of that attitude. But as we were just talking about science, and how we were talking about technology and achievements and things like that, I think one thing that will hinder any kind of progress is the fact that science is being held hostage by big corporations. So when you talk about Trump being in the news and supporting hydroxycut or whatever he's selling now,
that stuff does not work, I can attest.
Yeah, I mean, if he's out there,
it's ephedra free. That's why.
Yeah, fuck. Everybody knows. We all lost fucking.
That guy from the Vikings that died because he was on ephedra training camp really screwed everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. Because
about that.
I took some shit back in the day with ephedra, and I fucking lost like 30 pounds, man. Like shedded that real quick. I was looking lean and mean. But the thing is that you can't have scientists out there. No scientist can get anything done without some kind of private funding. And they're either going to be working for, the big corporations that Trump likes to bring and parade across the TV.
Look, we have Jeff Bezos out here. He's going to make sure everybody's getting their deliveries on time. The great, fantastic company.
We've got the CEO of Walmart, whose last name is Nodwall. Very shocking to discover that today.
Yeah, I mean, and with big corporations who are going to employ the top scientists, or they're going to make sure that these guys don't get to, practice their, their experiments and their work in any kind of setting. So
but then inherently that becomes a competition of who can acquire the better funding to be able to do something, and
Absolutely.
It becomes less about what they're actually doing it for. Like if there were 10 companies bidding for the cure for coronavirus right now, well, it's going to come to a matter of politics and private funding to be able to get the contract for it.
And see, I think that's inherently part of the problem, is because science and technology together are inherently apolitical and asocietal. They just are. One of my favorite quotes from Ricky Gervais is, if you destroy all evidence of all the current religions in the world, in 1,000 years, there will be brand new ones, nothing like anything we've ever seen before. If you destroy all the scientific evidence, in 1,000 years, it'll all come back exactly the way it is, because science just is. It's a fact.
It's
you're going to rediscover it eventually.
Exactly. And so the fact of the matter is, because you can't bend science to fit an agenda. Science is just, this is what the thing is. This is
right.
this is a law. This is a fact. And that's why it's not as popular, because nowadays people are more concerned with things that make them feel good and fit into their agenda, at whether it's political or societal or whatever, They want things that are on their side, and science doesn't take a side. And that's part of the reason why nowadays the more well-educated, the smarter people are I hate to use the word feared, but people are intimidated by it. Like they're feeling like they're being talked down to, or they're being intimidated. But like no, they're just smarter, and they're just telling you how things are. They're not mansplaining it to you or science-splaining it to you. They're just saying this is a thing, and this is how the thing works. And I'm not going to say it's different just because I'm on Fox News or I'm on CEN. This is just the way the thing works. And that's going to have to be one of those things, part of that paradigm shift, where people are going to have to understand science and technology is here for a specific purpose, and that's to do a job, not do the job the way that you think it should be done.
Well, yeah, but God told differently, though.
More now.
Well, and the thing too is that, you know, when you talk about science and technology like that, Mike, people don't know how to interact with intelligent people anymore, because what they know is what they scroll through their feed with every day, and they just get the little golden nuggets, if you will, of information off their timeline.
Why?
And so they
hey, there's more Tiger King coming, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
One bonus episode.
Sorry, hold on. Email just came up. So the what they know is very little. They know the brief overview, and they know enough to get the conversation started, but it's, they get insulted when they have to actually dive into a conversation and they don't know anything. Which brings to a point where I want to transition into next, when we're talking about discoveries and we're talking about technology and things like that. I want to dive into something here. So CERN, CERN, guys?
Yes.
The C has nothing to do with the English language. It's the European Organization for Nuclear Research. The C only comes into play because it stands for council in French. French use council instead of organization. So it's actually the Conseil Européen pour la Recherche Nucléaire. Just give me the beer. So this organization, is, what do they got, Sean? They have like an underground facility.
The Super Collider?
Yeah, the Hadron Collider.
Yeah, looking for the Higgs boson particles and shit.
Yeah, so it was like shut down like a year ago for like cleaning. They shut it down for cleaning a year ago. But what's starting back up though is that CERN has found a way to cool down antihydrogen in an effort to better understand how matter and antimatter work. So if you're a fan of Star Trek or other science properties, you've probably heard of matter and antimatter. Star Trek uses it in their warp drive. It's basically the combustion for the engines, in a sense. We've always known that matter has existed out in the universe, but to be honest, as science reports, there's very little antimatter actually out there in the universe, and so we haven't been able to explain that because, in its theory, the Big Bang would have produced a huge excess of antimatter. Yet there's actually very little out there to get our hands on and study and see how it reacts. So here's an amazing discovery. I feel like, because for the past 50 years, since basically since Star Trek has aired and other sci-fi as well, we are using technology right now that has come from science fiction. When we think of our cell phones, the communicator, to laser beams and phasers and
sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads.
Sharks Are they ill-tempered?
Very.
Very. That's a
That's a
start.
start.
So, now, we've seen replicators on Star Trek. Now we have 3D printers and stuff.
They cloned a sheep.
Cloned a sheep? Yeah, sure.
Dolly.
So
Richards is still alive. So
yeah, too.
So let me ask you this: since we've seen a track record of technology come out of sci-fi that's now a part of our everyday life and continues to be improved upon and become practical, what do you think the odds are of something like this being worked out to the point of some kind of practical application, something being developed where, what if there is a warp drive, something like that, around the corner? Sean, I'll start with you.
Look, I think practical application for a fuel source for deep space travel is what we need to be doing with it. We need to get off of this planet immediately. We're plagued, we're ravaged, we're killing each other, and it's time to go. We need to find a new place to go, expand out into the universe, find our, extraterrestrial brethren out there. No, in all seriousness, space travel is, I think, the most logical progression of humanity. We can only do so much with what we're given until we need more. We're 7-8 billion people on the planet right now, and we're only going to keep growing.
Billions.
And growing. There are literally billions and billions of people on the planet. So not everybody can have a home. Not everybody can have a job. Not everybody can have a great president like 45. But we do need to be able to look to the heavens for maybe a new place to live, maybe new places to mine resources and materials and minerals. I mean, what kinds of metals are the moon made up of? Is that stuff that we could be mining right now that we could influx the economy with, funds with? We could be building our moon base or different stations on asteroids and meteors and things like that, to where you don't need 80 million gallons of rocket fuel to be able to get off the planet to overcome gravity. The further that we can expand our reach out into the universe, it's only going to open up more and more and more and start to answer the questions that mankind has had since the beginning. You look at the beginning of the Ancient Aliens opening crawl. Who are we? Why are we here? Where do we come from? Where are we going? These are really core essential questions of what it is to be a human being. Finding out where you came from, why you came from, and who you came from. It's the question that we all want answers to. And if we can take that next step with what we already have and start extrapolating on that and get out there and find these kinds of answers, maybe we can find cures for diseases that we don't know about. Maybe we can find different ways of living and increase our technological advancements and things like that. So the practical application for, whatever antimatter warp drive kind of fuel source or whatever it is, I mean, do it now. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I think we're at a point where, when what did you say the Earth's population is? 7-8 billion now.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
You feel crowded, right? You feel like, the Earth
I often think Thanos was right.
The Earth is pretty crowded.
Like, did you ever sit in traffic and wish that nobody else was on the road, that they all just disappeared? I do all frequently. Maybe not in the last 3 weeks, but quite often I do. God, I wish they all just disappeared.
And not only now that that the Earth is so crowded, but I think it's also in our innate nature that we look out, that we do explore, that we have a I think that's part of the human curiosity, is to explore and to understand. And now more than ever, as we make these advancements and we become closer to things that were science fiction and become science reality, it feels more inevitable, and it feels closer than ever and within our reach. And it's like, and then when the creation of a space force gets made, it's exciting. It's like, oh wow, we're going to, obviously on one spectrum
Boldly go.
we're going to militarize space, but at the same time it's the fact that we're going to go up there and try and start doing shit, not just like float around on the ISS for a fucking year and a
Total
half.
Recall is going to happen in the next 20 years.
Well, who knows? I mean, what do you
Stranger,
think?
This is housing.
Hold on. What do you think? What do you think of the possibility that Mars was actually home to beings first? I mean, I know you like the movie. What was it? Mission to Mars, right? Where
I like the movie. It's a good movie.
Right.
I love anything about Mars except like Ghosts of Mars.
Ghosts of Mars, yeah, movie. That was scary.
If you're a big fan of John Carter,
yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah,
it's better than the panning it got.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe it should have been called John Carter of Mars, so people know what the fucking movie was about. But I digress from that. The Martian was cool.
But they recently discovered that there is possibly what looks to be some sort of like polar caps that were once part of Mars. So when you think about that, like obviously we have this idea of how old the Earth is and things like that. I mean, Mars is in that same boat there, but the fact that our next door neighbor shows trace signs of oxygen, water elements underneath the surface, possibly there was vegetation at one time. So I mean, we always are curious, how did we get here? And then when you look at things like how the pyramids were made, and there was that stride in early history where you had human beings doing incredible monolithic megastructures using hand tools with the assistance of what we like to believe
Look,
could
they
be
used
aliens.
a pulley system, right?
Right. So and of course the Egyptians
man, God just played with Legos.
I mean, the Egyptians apparently had a 40-story lighthouse, the Pharaoh's lighthouse, basically, that
Alexandria.
They say it could have been a lighthouse, could have also been like a modern day laser for that time. Laser.
Moses guy came in and fucked it all up.
Yeah.
But Moses lost a lot of time after he came down from the mountain too. What's that about? He went up into space and saw everything from up in the heavens, and then came back, and then by the time he came back, he was an old man. What's that tell you?
That's
space
true.
Travel. Aliens.
So, when you think about that, like what if Martians, people from Mars, left Mars, due to some event, and were able to come here, and maybe the technology that that was supplemented in the creating of Egyptian culture and stuff like that. What if that was just the leftovers of what they had available? Like, yeah, you have to use manpower, but what if they only had one or two ships and a couple advanced tools? Who knows? But it leaves curiosity to the mind as far as what could be next.
There's some kind of extraterrestrial intervention.
Mike, any remarks?
Not really, man. It's I know that there have been, like scientists have been able to make like really small microscopic particles travel at what we would consider like warp speed. Yeah. We're still very far along away from being able to make, a vessel travel that fast. But
do you even need to, though?
It depends on, I guess it really depends. If you look at, like you were talking about, like, the idea of needing to find another planet. Unless we shape the hell up real quick. Like Bill Nye said, the world is on fucking fire. Okay.
I think Smash Mouth said that too.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, I think so. Dear God,
it's on fire.
Bill Nye's been a fake all this time. Well, I bet all of his experiments are just quotes from Smash Mouth. I mean, for me, what all this comes down to is just we need to shape the hell up. I mean, we really need to take a long, hard look at the state of the world and realize that, you know, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect things to change.
What's that called?
Insanity, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Insanity, right. Or it's also known as what we're currently doing. So
serenity now, insanity later.
Exactly. So I would definitely like to see, you know, I'd like to see things really shift towards away from just innovation and more towards preservation. Like we've innovated a lot. I think we have the technology that exists right now to say, okay, we've hit a really good point. Let's stop trying to go forward and just focus on kind of leveling everything out. Because I think our technology has almost exceeded past what we as a people are capable of, like just fathoming what we can do with it. And I think we need to take a step back and take, okay, so we have this awesome technology. Now, how practical can we make it?
But have we really been innovative to the point where it's benefited, you know, the greater good of society, though? I have to argue that's
kind of my point, though.
I think we have innovated, but like, you know, I think the innovations that have come about, you know, only, you know, certain people have benefited from it, you know, financially or, you know, in other ways. I mean, no innovation has really, you know, crossed the bridge to say like, wow, we just jumped 20 years with that innovation right there. Or we just, you know,
but I think that's kind of my point is like, we need to look at it. It's kind of like, it's that scene in Apollo 13 when they're like, we need to make this fit into this using only what they have in the lander. We need to take a look at what we have right now and see how it can be repurposed or just better adapted to benefiting the society at large, rather than just saying, how can we make a new model of this? Like, instead of improving on what we have, let's take what we have and see how we can just better use it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum when he's arguing with Hammond. He's like, you took an idea and you perfected it and you slapped a brand sticker on it and put it on a lunchbox. You know, it's we have things in place. Are we necessarily using them for the right application? You know, are we applying ourselves to things that are important, or are we using our technology to make TikTok videos? You know, what are we actually using this stuff for? Am I hacking your Zoom video and putting up dick pics behind you right now, or am I doing something more constructive with my time? I see one behind you right now.
to go off the Jurassic Park metaphor, he then goes on to say, you guys were so wrapped up in the idea of whether or not you didn't stop to think about whether or not you should. It's like, yeah, we could do this, but should we do something to change it up? Could we do it like this, or should we do it like something else?
Right.
I think that's what the next step needs to be, is taking the knowledge that we have and the innovation that we have right now and repurposing it again, like we're seeing right now with the coronavirus. We're repurposing a lot of factories to produce things they wouldn't normally produce. We need to make that almost like spread across all of current science and technology. How can we repurpose and reutilize what we have right now to learn from our past mistakes?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Put a period on the end of that sentence. I see.
I did it right there.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points. And may God
God
have
have mercy on your
We're
soul.
waiting for a reason to use that.
A simple wrong would have been just fine, but that's beautiful. So well timed.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, as we approach the midnight hour here, is there any
You look at my
closing?
clock real quick. I was like, have we really been going all the way to midnight? Damn.
Yes,
God, we have.
yes, it's almost midnight here in Kowloon Bay. Any closing remarks, closing thoughts that you guys would like to touch on?
I just
Sean,
wanted
you
to
said
bring
you had-
something. Yeah, I wanted to bring something to the table right here, and it kind of fits along with our technology and science conversation.
Yeah.
We're gonna relate it to the sports world. So
Sport.
obviously, with everything going on, all the major sports leagues have also been shut down. We have no basketball, hockey, anything going on.
I heard
right now.
baseball might be coming back.
Well, baseball, the MLB is looking at doing games in the Phoenix, Arizona area. It's
Why?
spring training facilities. Apparently, nobody gets coronavirus out there. They're going to have every team play their games in the immediate Phoenix area, and the players during the games aren't allowed in the dugouts. No fans allowed in the stands. The players are supposed to be sitting in the stands 6 feet away from each other while they're not doing anything, is what they're saying. So that's what baseball is doing. But on the technological aspect, obviously the NFL draft is supposed to be coming up here in a few weeks, and it's formally canceled as we know it. But EA Games is partnering with the NFL. Obviously, they do the Madden games as well. They have partnered to create a virtual draft experience where the prospects coming out that are getting drafted will virtually, through the engines that they make, be able to be shown walking out onto stage, going up to meet Commissioner Goodell, shake his hand, get their jersey up. And then each prospect is actually going to be able to receive a $2,500 grant to give to the high school that they went to for their football program. So going along the lines of things that we're able to do technologically, I think something like this is kind of an advancement where maybe if we are practicing more social distancing, not only now but in the future, where maybe we're not getting so many big groups of people together, where we can start doing things either remotely or virtually. Something like this is going to kind of be a pioneer for the technology like that. So maybe you can't be at a concert that's being held at the Hollywood Bowl because you live in New Jersey, but hey, maybe you can be there virtually. And with the VR that we have going on right now, and the technology to be able to kind of put you in that environment and give you that experience like you're actually there. Yeah, it's kind of like the Oasis in Ready Player One, essentially. Something like this is going to be the precursor to that. So definitely, I think it's a much greater approach to what they want to do and still be able to accomplish as compared to what Major League Baseball is proposing. Or I don't know if you heard about Dana White in the UFC. Just today, he said that he has procured a private island off the U.S. coast somewhere in an undisclosed location where he plans for the next 2 months flying fighters out there and still doing their pay-per-views and everything that goes along with that. I don't know what the legality is on everything, but that is his plan. So it looks like the different commissioners of these leagues, I know they had a conference call with Trump the other day, whatever was made from that. Some leagues are understanding that they shouldn't be doing anything right now, like the NBA and Adam Silver. He says, I know less now than I did 3 weeks ago, so I'm not going to put a timetable on anything. The NFL is taking steps to not have people together and push off the start of the season. So it's really going to come down to the people that are actually understanding what is happening and the implications on what's going to happen if they don't keep following procedures that we're currently doing. But technologies and innovation with sport can definitely change the landscape of not movie and TV news and reviews like the Cinescape podcast used to do, but the way that we ingest our sports moving forward. Sports ball.
Go sports team.
Sports and shit. Books.
Do the thing. Score the points.
So that's what I got to bring to the table today.
Well, I know we're all thriving for some sports to come back into our lives in some way or another.
I got wrestling. I'm good.
Huh?
Yeah, WrestleMania just took place.
Yeah. What a weird weekend.
Did you see the Undertaker's like a little like short film / like intro? It was backdropped with Metallica's
Now That We're
song?
Dead.
Yeah, Now That We're Dead.
Yeah.
And it's him like riding in on the motorcycle, and he like enters like some, old like Midwestern like ranchy kind of town.
They didn't play Kid Rock?
Nah. I am American
Badass. It was WrestleMania was weird. This is the one I plan on talking about, but yeah, WrestleMania was weird because the whole thing was pre-taped a couple weeks ago. So a lot of it had a really cinematic feel to it, like the John Cena Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse match was super pre-produced. Obviously, you could not have done that at a live WrestleMania. Undertaker's Boneyard match was definitely one big set. I mean, it was fun to watch, but it was still just bizarre to watch all these matches take place in the Performance Center without any actual real audience and seeing everyone just trying to do the best they can. We did a 2-hour recap of it on one of my other shows yesterday, and we just kind of have this kind of came together and realized, like, what are they going to do? Because normally WrestleMania is kind of the reset for usually the season finale is WrestleMania, and then the season premiere is the next night on Raw. And, seeing how things are going to proceed on Raw and SmackDown going forward is kind of weird because it's a full contact, sports entertainment, and you can't keep doing that for too long. We already had to have Roman Reigns back out because he's still, coming back from fighting leukemia and is immunocompromised. And
I think didn't AEW shut down production completely?
They pretty much have to. The benefit that WWE has is it's been going for decades, so they can air kind of like what Fox Sports has been doing with everything else is they can air old content. AEW doesn't have that benefit. They've only been around a year,
right?
So same thing with
bad timing.
Yeah, Ring of Honor has been dealing out a lot of like documentary specials on different wrestlers. WWE, they're gonna have to because honestly, we almost didn't have WrestleMania either, and that's because Vince McMahon kind of waited till the last minute to make a decision because the city was just going to shut it down altogether. But I wouldn't be surprised if going forward they just start showing old content on Raw and SmackDown because they can't keep, especially because the Performance Center is based in Florida. So unless they're going to have the same 6 or 12 wrestlers fighting every single week, they're not going to be able to keep having everybody come in and out of Florida to do this full contact thing for hours. It's just dangerous.
And then are you going to test everybody when they enter the building every time they come in? Like
that's
like you're even with if it's the WWE wrestlers or any athlete for any of this the major sports leagues. They're just another NHL player today was diagnosed with the virus, and there's been X amount of NBA players, and
we've been seeing
Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints. I mean, it's the players are getting this too. The athletes aren't immune to this themselves.
Exactly.
They're also getting this. So innately, it's nothing that anybody can avoid.
We've seen musicians and actors catch it and die in the last couple of weeks. Testament, one of my favorite bands, was on tour in Europe when this was all breaking out over there, and now 2 of their members have tested positive for coronavirus. This is some real shit. And so but again, going to the testing, like it's already famously known that the WWE doesn't exactly take care of their people either. No. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen there. I just came on here expecting to talk about Ezra Miller choking a lady. But,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
You
want to fight me?
Yeah. And like grabs her by the neck and throws her to the ground. And it's like, whoa, buddy, calm down, man. The Flash will get made. Just be patient.
Now, I don't think there was enough context to the whole thing. Like, what was the conversation? Was it legit? Like he's choking this chick out, or
what they've been able to confirm so far is that he was at this took place. This is
Iceland?
A while back. It took place at a bar in Reykjavik, which I think is in Iceland. And that he had basically there'd been a group of fans who knew he was there and were all kind of coming at him and he was trying to get him off. And then at one point he got really nasty with one of them. He goes up, grabs her by the neck, and throws her on the ground. And that's when the video cuts off.
Throw it on the ground.
Yeah, and so far, like, no one's been able to get any kind of comment out of him or his reps. But I mean, it's a pretty, like, if you watch the video, I mean, it doesn't look like they're playing. It looks like he straight up throws this chick on the ground.
Yeah, he grabs her right by the neck and takes her down.
and at first, it looks like she's laughing, like she thinks it's like they're goofing or something. It's like, no, it gets really real really fast.
Yeah, that's why I was curious, because there isn't very much of the video, and it looks like she was smiling as he was doing it. So, like, was it all in fun, or what's actually happening?
Yeah, and so
I guess we'll find out more.
Maybe, I don't know. The way things are right now, they can, because it's not like they got it. It's not like anything's in production right now.
Like you should have grabbed her by the pussy.
Yeah, then he would have been made president. I mean, come on. It also it's just so kind of weird to me that this happened because, you remember last year everybody was bemoaning Warner Brothers for keeping Johnny Depp employed in Fantastic Beasts because of he allegedly had abused Amber Heard. Then it came out that was wrong, that she did it. So now everyone's welcoming him back with open arms. And now another member of that movie's cast is caught. Was like, man, what is it with you Harry Potter people? Calm the hell down. Jeez.
Yeah, they must be.
Harry and Hermione didn't have these problems.
Yeah, they must be Hufflepuffs.
So it was. I remember I saw that, and then I saw Heroic Hollywood tweet about it, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But then but I guess this is from months ago. This wasn't like recent or anything like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, state of the world.
State of the world.
State of the world.
This world is on fire.
It's also not enough.
This world is also not enough.
The world is not enough.
It's the end of the world.
True.
But I feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got nothing there. Well,
I was.
My boner says yes.
Oh.
Yeah, got my boner pants on.
Wow.
Well, gentlemen, we're gonna bring this to a close now. So just to recap, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight here on Mike's of the Round Table.
Yeah, he's Mike. I feel like we should all be named Mike.
Yeah. Or some variation, like, hi, I'm Mikey. I'm Michael. I'm Micah.
We could just play the clip from Lost Boys. Michael.
Hello,
Michael. Mikey.
Michael commercial. Mike.
Hump day.
Well, gentlemen, we dived into science today. We expanded our brains a little bit. We were blinded by science. Hopefully we can take those blinders off and start looking towards our future, if you will. So for Mike Shea, for Sean Harrigan, for myself, Bill the Rowdy One Tazi, thank you for joining us on Mike's of the Round Table, brought to you by Cinescape Media Network. We will see you guys soon. Keep an eye out for our next show. Thank you, and have a great night.